If I could, I'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. I appreciate everyone being here, and we do have to wait until we've officially reached 5:45 before we start our meeting, so I appreciate everyone being here. We do have a quorum of our board team. That's item 1 on our agenda. A couple of our board members are on their way here. Ms. Mizell Flint and also Dr. Kingman is in surgery right now, but I told him just to go ahead and let someone else close, so hopefully he'll be here shortly. But that covers our first item on our agenda. Our second item is our invocation. We're honored this evening to have Roy Ramon, the pastor at Beacon Baptist Church. He's also one of our own and helps us out a lot in the transportation department. So, Roy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Will you bow your head as I pray? Dear wise and loving Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Guide our hearts and minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Our next item on our agenda is our pledges. As I welcome these students from Santa Rita, they're going to come forward. So we have Talia Zamaripa, Drew Dotson, Jaden Swint, Emma Granath, Kasner Stribling, and Greer Lee Wright. So if y'all stand, we'll do our pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank y'all. Okay, hang on. I told some of the kids that if parents wanted to come up and take a picture, that would be great. So if y'all face out and someone wants to take a picture without us in the background, that'd be really good. Thank y'all so much. It's a great time of the year because in the summer we don't have any of our students here doing the pledges, so we don't get the excitement of having them in the room, so we appreciate them being here. I guess I'll read our script and then we'll move on to our business. Good evening and welcome. As President of the Board of Trustees of the San Angelo Independent School District, I'd like to welcome all of you who are present at tonight's regular board meeting. Also welcome those of you who are watching the tape of this meeting on our public access channel, Channel 4. We appreciate your interest in our students. All items that will be discussed at our meeting this evening have been posted as required by state law. Also, as you may be aware, our board meets a minimum of 2 times per month, and most, if not all, the items on our board agenda this evening have been previously discussed in an earlier pre-agenda board workshop. As members of the San Angelo Independent School District's Board of Trustees, we're here to set goals, listen to reports from our superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and to make policy for the school district. Please keep in mind that our meeting is a meeting of the Board of Trustees held in the public and not a meeting of the public. However, with that in mind, we have an item on every one of our meeting agendas that allows anyone present who wishes to speak to our board team an opportunity to do so. I will make certain that we give everyone an opportunity to speak on any item not listed on our agenda this evening. Additionally, prior to taking any votes, I will make sure that I ask audience members if they would like to make any comment. Anyone wishing to make comments on any agenda item should limit their comments to 3 to 5 minutes if possible. In compliance with state law, these proceedings are recorded and will be part of our SAISD's permanent legal record. In order that our tape might adequately reflect the proceedings, I ask that you please refrain from talking while others might be speaking. And I also ask, as I remind my fellow board team members, to please turn off our silencer cell phones at this particular time. Again, it's a pleasure to welcome to tonight's meeting, and we thank you for taking the time to join us. Our next item we're going to do is recognitions, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jackson to do that. Derek, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to honor these San Angelo ISD students who are winners in the 2018 Fire Prevention Poster Contest brought to us each year by the San Angelo Fire Department. This year's theme was Look, Listen, Learn, Be Aware Fire Can Happen Anywhere. Look for possible fire hazards in your home and eliminate them. Listen for your home's smoke alarms. Know that you may have only minutes to get out if a fire breaks out. Learn 2 ways out of each room of your home. Students in grades 3 through 5 participated in the annual poster contest hosted by the San Angelo Fire Marshal's Office, and we are fortunate tonight to recognize those winning posters. So students, when you hear your name called, please come forward. I will give you your poster with its winning ribbon attached to it, and you will stand up front here, and you guys will all form a line and stay in the line until everyone's been announced, and we'll get a few pictures. Also, if you're here with a student, whether it's a parent, family member, teacher, principal, please stand while your student comes forward so that we can recognize you as well. So let's begin with the 3rd grade winners. From Bonham Elementary, Guinevere Worth. From Santa Rita, CJ Tovar. From Goliad, Jasmine Valletta. I wasn't sure if Jasmine, the weather may have caught a few kiddos. Oh, here you are. I thought I talked to you earlier, Jasmine. And I think it's Vieta. I apologize. So once again, those are our 3rd grade winners. Now we're going to announce the 4th grade winners. From Santa Rita, Thalin Lopez. From Austin Elementary, Kaylee Cortez. And from Reagan Elementary, Desiree Galvan. And for our 5th grade winners, from Bonham Elementary, Trevor Keene. I bet I didn't pronounce it right. Congratulations. From Glenmore, Leah Moreno. And from Goliad, Kaylee Russell. So these are our 2018 poster winners for SAISD.
Yeah, y'all, if y'all need to get closer or
Yes.
do anything you'd like to
Come
do,
grab
that'd
your
be
photos.
awesome.
We're going to get an official photo too, kiddos, so
Okay,
just hang
yeah.
tight for 1 second.
Yeah, maybe y'all squeeze together a little bit, like y'all
Yeah, see
like
how
each
close
other.
you guys can get together.
Yeah, that's it. And that way, even an old-fashioned camera might be able to capture you.
CJ, no smiling over there. Come on, there you go.
Let's give them all one more round of applause. And shake hands.
Yeah,
Shake hands.
sure.
Kiddos, if you'll go around the table, our board members and our administration staff would like to shake each of your hands and tell you how awesome you are.
And we want to see your...
There you go.
Thanks for coming. Congratulations.
Great job. Let me see your poster. Wow, that's
Can I
really
see your
nice.
poster?
Way to go.
Good job. Thanks
Man,
for
that's
coming.
good. Congratulations.
Oh, you young man. Oh, sorry. Congratulations. Thank you.
That's great. Very good. Yes. Good job.
Let me see your poster. Oh, nice.
CJ,
Good job.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let me see that. Oh, wow, that is good.
Congratulations. Thanks for coming, okay?
Man, that's good. Nice poster.
Look, listen, and learn. Congratulations.
Thank you all for bringing them. We appreciate you having them. That concludes our portion of recognition.
Yeah, it's something else we don't get to do much of in the summer is recognize our kiddos, so we appreciate y'all all being here and being on time for our meeting. I referred to this item earlier. We have a number of folks who are wanting to make comments during our public comment section. I'm going to try to take those in the order that I received them. So first up is Dr. Donnie Dunnigan, and he's going to make a presentation. That mic should be ready for you over there. Thanks for being here.
I don't think I don't need to use this, do I have to?
Yeah, if you don't mind, because it won't come, when we do the
Okay.
telecast of it,
That's all right.
we won't hear what you're saying, so.
Thank you for this opportunity. On behalf of a whole lot of students, many of them here, and parents, and seniors, and those yet born, we want to thank this board for this excellent presentation of Bond 2018. I've been on PTA boards and school boards since age 14. No, I'm lying. Age 24, and I'm 84, so I've seen some stuff. This is one of the very best presentations you're ever going to find on a school board. And we need more of us, everyone, and those here help us with this. We need more of us to get into this website. The copy that I have of this board, of this bond in detail, was copied off this website. And so few of us know about it. Please help us get into this. Please. I got energized into this, sir, by the bond of last attempt that didn't make it by a hair. I started listening. I listened to this town real good. And I kept hearing very different stories about why this bond didn't work. You know, this story about that point was over here. Another story was over here. Wait a minute, we're talking about the same point. Almost like a lot of propaganda is on the street about this board. The same thing is manifest on this board, 2018. I have personally talked to and listened to 130 people on my emails and on the telephone and on my poor wife's recorder, which is getting worn out. And we're hearing some of the darndest things you can imagine about this board. Example, one nice lady, very bright, I think, and very aware of things, she thought that this quote, that this new board was some cute, clever way to float some salary changes and some bonuses. It only took a couple of minutes of objective information with her to change that around. She has since called my wife back and said, I've looked into this on that website, and my husband and I are going to vote for the bond. Now, this is a lady that I think was an ardent opponent of the bond last time. We just need to get some responsible, honest information out about this bond, okay? And this website does a great job of it, but I would submit to you, we need to get it out to more people. It's too small on the paper. It's too small everywhere. I'd put this thing on a balloon hanging up on the roof of the school buildings. Please, parents here, pick up on this. You have neighbors. Help them get into this objectively. Another thing that came up about the bond recently that we need to overcome is who's paying for this thing? My wife and I are both seniors. I'm really a senior at 84, and we live in the general area of Santa Rita. I've taken the math that this excellent presentation provides, and I've costed it out, and I'd be surprised if I pay more than $16 for both these bonds. $16 for all the things that these bonds will achieve, like fixing some doors to open up right outside from a classroom, and we're worried about security. Forgive me, this old Marine says lock that up. Fix that right away. Okay? The crazy world we have today. and access ramps missing, and some fencing. I haven't been to all the schools of our 12, but I've been to 7, and even I can see from the parking lot some areas where we need some fencing. Very easy security fencing to do. And a couple of the buildings, one in particular, is 5 years older than me. and I don't think that building can do push-ups with me. It's going to need some help, okay? And I'm making light of this a little because it deserves a smile. We need to get behind this board. We need to get rid of all the baloney, the Marine Corps would call it baloney information, get some real information into our hearts and minds, and some leadership voters to the polls by the 6th. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Downing. We appreciate that. Our next, I think, Shane, you're next, I believe. So if you'd let everybody know who you are, Shane, I'd appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Can y'all hear me?
Sure.
Well, Dr. Dunnigan, you'll be happy to know that I have been to that website. So I'm Shane Plymell. I'm the CEO at Shannon. I'm really kind of glad that Dr. Kingman is still in surgery and finishing up that. You can tell who's important. He's still at work and I'm not. But I am. When I think about Dr. Kingman, I kind of started when y'all mentioned him. I was thinking about back to when we recruited him. And a lot of times when you think about recruitment, we're recruiting physicians and nurses and other clinical professionals. And a lot of times, or most of the time, the first thing we're looking for people nationally. And when they come to San Angelo, the first question they're always asking is about our school system, our schools. And I'm pretty proud of our SAISD and what we've been able to accomplish over the years. But, you know, it's real important when it comes to recruiting and retaining key people that we have strong schools, and just like we have strong health care. The other thing, and not only from recruiting key people, but also when you're looking at new employers coming to San Angelo, they want to make sure that they have good health care, that their people have good health care, as well as great schools for their families. The other thing that I think about when I think about the school systems is keeping up with the infrastructure. And, you know, when looking at some of the materials, a lot of the infrastructure with our current school system date back to the 1920s and 30s, similar to Shannon. We date back to the 1930s. And from an employer standpoint, I know how important it is to stay on top of your infrastructure, and you have to invest each and every year. If you don't, you fall behind really quickly. The other thing I want to say, so that's basically speaking from a CEO standpoint and trying to find good people and recruiting them and retaining them. I would like to speak specifically from a parent standpoint. I have 2 boys, and one's 18 and the other one's 12. And so I've basically had one all the way from kindergarten through senior. And I've been in most of these schools in various activities throughout that period of time. And I know there's some facilities that have been very well or nicely updated and in great places to provide educational services at. But I know there's a lot of different areas that need a lot of help. And what I mean by help, that means resources, that means money. So I applaud the leadership that's taken to take on this initiative, and I just want to express my support for both Prop A and Prop B from an employer standpoint as well as a parent standpoint. And thank you for all you guys do. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Plymell. We appreciate you being here. Our next person that would like to speak is Michael Looney. Michael, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Michael Looney. I'm the Vice President of Economic Development for the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce, a position I've been in for 4.5 years. And as you know, the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors have thrown their weight behind the support of this election, behind this bond. And I can speak from what I wanted to do is just take a couple of minutes and just give a little bit of a description to you and to the public of what I do. My function at the Chamber of Commerce is to support industry in San Angelo. These are manufacturers, fabricators, energy service companies, aviation-related companies. These are the companies that, when they're operational and they're running at full capacity, they are importing fresh dollars from around the world, around the country, into our city. They're not necessarily circulating dollars within the community. These are the companies that come here, that employ people, and these companies look at a lot of different criteria when they're considering a city to locate to or to expand into. And one of those criteria are schools. It's very, very critical that we as a community support SAISD's move towards making the schools a better place for our students, because believe me, corporations that I deal with, we have facilities, we have infrastructure, we have water, we have electrical capacity, we have employees, we have employee training programs, all the support mechanisms that are so important to these companies. And one of the biggest ones they come up with is, tell me about the schools, tell me about the infrastructure of these schools. And when they go tour them, they have to be in excellent condition. They have to be in good conditions, because believe me, companies will move to other locations if they are not comfortable and confident with what they see for their children. Because the more confidence they have in the school system, the more confidence they have in doing their jobs, their primary functions as to why these companies are here. It's very, very important. So remember that your job is to educate children, but you are also critical players in the economic development of the Concho Valley. Absolutely critical. I've seen companies make decisions based on a high school. And yet that seems like it's just one of a part of 100 pieces, and yet it's so crucial. So I wanted to throw my weight behind this as much as it matters, and I appreciate all that you do. It's very, very important for the future of our city, and I commend you all for your position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. I appreciate that. Our final, I think the final person we have coming forward would be Bruce Partain. Bruce, thanks for being here.
So I am Bruce Partain. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce. So Michael and I see each other a lot. In fact, we go to the same barber. You can probably tell that. I just want to, in all seriousness, just want to let you know, just kind of reiterate some of the things that Michael says, but all of you are aware that Goodfellow Air Force Base is our largest employer with about 5,000 employees, military and also civilian. If you look at the latest figures, the impact of that Air Force Base on our community is just shy of $400 million per year. So it's a huge asset. About 25 years ago, the Chamber was involved in an effort to save Goodfellow Air Force Base. Can you imagine what this community would be like if we did not have that Air Force Base? So it is an item that is somewhat at risk every year. There's numbers being run. We're not the biggest Air Force Base or the biggest military installation in Texas, but we are quite significant, certainly very significant to this community. So I'll just say that part of our retention of a very important asset to this community is the quality of our schools. Goodfellow over and over again the leaders talk about being an assignment of choice. So for San Angelo to be an assignment of choice, the schools have to be choice. They have to be good. They have to be better than the competition. So I would say we want to keep what we already have. We do want to build and attract, But this is all about retention. This is keeping the good life that we have here in San Angelo and making sure that the investments that's already been made is retained. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Partain. We appreciate that. Thanks for mentioning our families at Goodfellow as well. Certainly, we have a ton of students that we're pretty proud to have that are members of our student bodies that are from Goodfellow, so we appreciate that. I think that concludes, unless we have anyone else wishing to speak that didn't have time to fill out our information prior to speaking. If not, we'll go ahead and move forward. Again, I appreciate those comments. Our next item, that was item 5 on our agenda. Item 6 is the approval of our minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I think we're going to have to wait till Mr. Hernandez comes
Oh.
back. He had to take a break,
Sorry.
so we won't have a quorum until he
Thanks for
comes back.
reminding me. Yeah.
I suggest we might take a 5 or 10 minute break.
Okay, all right, let's
I
do
don't know
that.
exactly where he went.
Okay, let's make it 5 minutes, and then if it needs to be longer, then we'll be late returning. Okay, we'll try this again. So let's just redo approval of our minutes. So we'll strike those motions, and then we'll have someone remove to approve our minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion from Mr. Dental and a second from Mr. Parker to approve the minutes of our September 10th, 2018 special finance and pre-agenda meeting and our September 17th, 2018 regular board meeting. Are there any comments or questions from our board team? Any public comment? If not, all in favor of our motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Our next item is the report section. The first is we receive in our Friday facts each week as a board team, our student enrollment report. Our student enrollment's, been kind of fluctuating where we're off a few students compared to last year, and we have a few more than, the next week we might have a few more than we did last year. I think this report shows, it's in our book this time, that we're down 14, but the most recent one we got, we were up 13. So we're up. We have over 14,000 students in our district. We appreciate the confidence that the community has in entrusting us with educating their students. So we're pretty much in about the same situation that we were in this same time frame last year. Item B is an update on our academic progress, and Dr. Ritter is going to do that for us. Thanks, Jana.
And thank you, Mr. Lehman, Dr. Dutloff, and members of the board. Tonight, we are going to share some information, just update our progress on our campuses with our targeted improvement plans for the campuses of Alta Loma, Austin, Bowie, Goliad, McGill Elementaries, and Glenn and Lincoln Middle Schools. As a preface to this update, we wanted to show a video from Lamar Elementary School that is on our district website that highlights much of what we are doing at all of these campuses as part of their targeted improvement plans. At Lamar Elementary, which was an IR campus last year in our district, this video highlights what we did in the district, the success that we experienced on that campus, and the amazing progress that the students have made. And so we're excited to show you this tonight and let you know that this is really going to be a great part of our literacy focus for these campuses.
This is my 3rd year at Lamar, and in my first year, what I began to see and what I began to learn is that our students here at Lamar were not where they needed to be as far as a grade level goes. Instructionally, they were a year behind, 2 years behind, and because of that, we were going to see a deficit in their academic skills. And what we implemented here at Lamar was what we call balanced literacy. So we're looking at guided reading. We're looking at how they learn to read and then how they're reading to learn. And then we're looking at the writing component. Can they write? And then can they write to express themselves? Can they comprehend what they're reading? In addition to that, we had a program called LLI, which is a leveled literacy intervention. And what LLI did It worked with kids who are 2 or more years behind the grade level. And we work, again, small group done with fidelity. Parents are asked to do homework every single night with those children. And through that, and through the guided reading program, our kids progress tremendously.
The rewards that we've seen have just been amazing. Really the growth that we've seen over the course of last year implementing guided reading has been phenomenal. We've seen kiddos gain a year and a half, even 2 years of reading progress implementing this program.
Avery started here in 2nd grade. She came into 2nd grade reading at a very low 1st grade level. And she went into the LLI program and just progressed tremendously. And by the end of the year, she was reading at a 3rd grade level in just one short school year.
My youngest was struggling with reading and struggling in a few different areas in kindergarten and in 1st grade. And so Lamar brought to my attention the LLI, which is an intervention reading program. At that point, she was reading at still a very early kindergarten age. And they specifically worked with her. It's a small group of about 4 or 5 of those kids. And gosh, within such a short time, 6-month period or so, she was already at the point where she could join back with her class to do the guided reading.
I think one of the other really big rewards as a teacher is when you're working with that student and you're able to show them, here's where you started and here's where you are now, and they know that they've improved, and now they really want to check out books and they want to read because they can do it now, and that's the best payoff of all.
Her self-esteem has grown, her confidence. She reads more. She enjoys reading more. She likes reading to her little brother. She'll read in front of other people more. And before, she wouldn't. We would have to make her read.
It's not only the reading, it's the confidence that goes behind it for her to know that she can do it. So to me, it was just a game changer. I mean, she's able to start 2nd grade where she needs to be because of that program.
Our board of directors have said, you know what, it worked there. We're pushing that in everywhere. We need this growth and this strength in academics at every school here in San Angelo. So everyone's getting the academic help that they need to be successful after they graduate.
So we feel that that is just a great way to show you and you hear from the point of view of parents and students and teachers the success of this focus. And with your support, we have already begun this work on these campuses as well as our other elementary schools in the district. These campuses, through a process of reviewing district and campus data, areas for needed improvement for those campuses have been determined, and they've set academic progress goals based on root causes, and the goals will be addressed through indicated actions and processes. And so I've summarized these for you there at your seats on an academic progress sheet here. And you had the detailed plans last week in your Friday facts. So just to summarize, we did know that the common thing in all of these campuses, root causes, it really starts with a large percentage of our students who enter the school year reading below grade level. This is something that we are seeing across our district, something that we're aware of and that we know we're doing a lot to address. Until we can get our students reading on grade level, we know that we're going to see some struggles in every content area across the board. Teachers and administrators also need to systemically review appropriate student data points to provide customized instruction and interventions for individual students, as you saw in the video. In order to really provide those interventions and instruction, we need to have better data points so that our teachers know exactly what to focus on with every single student. So teacher training comes into play here, and instructional resources as well. And they should reflect the need for customized, differentiated, best practice instructional and intervention methodology. And we know that over the past few years, instruction really has been based on a lack of accurate, targeted student data, and we have needed stronger alignment to the district curriculum, which we have just rewritten. So we have finished the content, writing the curriculum for our core content areas, and we're in full implementation of all those core content areas this year. So our actions and processes that are outlined in our plans are through professional learning communities, which you hear referred to as PLCs, with our teachers on campuses, meeting weekly to closely monitor and track student data points to determine areas of strength and focus. Utilization of data through the measures of academic progress assessments, and you hear us refer to those as MAP assessments. And our district has invested in MAP assessments. We start the first window of that testing next week. This will provide us strong data points that we need to individualize and customize instruction for every student and know exactly where our students are. And it also provides a predictive measure for us to know what to anticipate for them and their growth. As you know, we're working on the professional development through embedded coaching and providing help with some consultants on our campuses to work with literacy and math for our teachers. Teachers and administrators will develop a customized plan of instruction or intervention, sometimes it's both, for all of our students. So students will have a customized plan that they will be meeting with PLC groups, principals, and teachers to review these plans and review the progress of our students. Using these measures, the data points that we're going to have through the MAP assessments. And then finally, principals and campus instructional coaches will closely monitor implementation of our guaranteed viable district curriculum and effective use of approved instructional resources. So with that alignment, we know that the experience that we had at Lamar, we are anticipating that we will experience lots of this progress at our other campuses as well, and we're really looking forward to reporting that to you soon. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Dr. Ritter. Any questions comments? Dr. Detloff, anything?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Lehman. I just want to reiterate on the video, you saw Ms. Lane, the principal of Lamar Elementary, mention our Board of Trustees, and one of their primary responsibilities is to allocate the funding from our district and the funds and target those funds into different allotments for the benefit of kids. Recently, in the beginning of this school year, they mentioned, as Ms. Lane indicated, that we want to replicate what happened at Lamar based on the academic progress. This is measurable progress. We want to replicate those efforts, and our number one priority is academic performance and academic success for all kids. And so they reallocated funds to make sure that we purchased the MAP program, the Measurement of Academic Progress. So we have that now at all of our campuses. Also, to buy leveled text. You heard of the balanced literacy approaches. Really, we want reading levels at every kid's point of need. So whether they're reading at a pre-primer level or reading on a 4th or 5th grade level, we want a leveled reader at their point of academic need to progress them forward. And so through text, through embedded coaching, the literacy libraries, we have worked to make sure that those resources are at the hands of all of our teachers so that we can replicate the results that we have seen at Lamar Elementary School.
Thank you, Dr. Detloff.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions or comments? Something our boards, along with our administrative teams, really working hard on, so we appreciate the update and expect, positive results. So we'll look forward to hearing about results as we move forward.
Thank you. I'm going to end on just another draw, taking us full circle to our learner profile. I have another video to show you. This video, as we talk about our future-ready learners in San Angelo ISD and with the development of our learner profile that we're seeing across the district in classrooms everywhere we go, developing our students as communicators, collaborators, critical thinkers, and creators. This video, it was actually a video that I used in a presentation at Texas Association of School Administrators in TASB when we were there. And this video is, it's really interesting. It's called The Future of Work, Will Our Children Be Prepared? And these things are actually happening in our world right now. And so the challenge for us is how are we continuing to help our students develop skills that will be relevant for their future. So with that in mind, I'm going to let you watch this video also. So it's thought-provoking, if anything. I know that as we think about our future-ready learner profile and the things we're doing in our classrooms, this is the future that our kids are going to be facing, and we know that we have to help them to have the relevant skills. Reading is still going to be important, being able to do math, being able to be communicators and creators and build that creativity and critical thinking skills. Those are very, very important to us. So thank you for your time and your support.
Dr. Ritter, the video, the first one you showed, is it somewhere that any of the public could find it?
Yes, it's on our district website, right, Derek?
Just saisd.org somewhere?
Yes.
All right, how about the last one? Is that something we posted anywhere?
We certainly can. We can post the second one as well, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thanks, Max. For an old person like me, that's pretty scary, thinking about being replaced as a,
I did too.
It said lawyers are going to be
I
replaced.
saw lawyers could be replaced by computers, which but I didn't see anything that a teacher could be replaced by a computer, so I thought that was pretty neat.
So thanks for that, and again, we look forward as we progress through the year with a lot of our academic initiatives. Easy for me to say. Okay, we'll move forward with our consent agenda. I believe we have consent items. You can tell Max did our pre-agenda. We have consent items A through J. Does anyone would like to remove any of those items? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Hernandez and a second from Mr. Parker. Those items are item A's, consider donations. We had a pretty substantial donation to the Fort Concho, from the Fort Concho PTO organization, so we appreciate their contribution to the district. Item B is to consider our quarterly investment report that ended August 31st of 2018. Item C is to consider our annual portfolio report that ended August 31st of 2018. Item D is to consider CDA local investment policy. Item E is to consider our 2018-2019 authorized list of investment brokers or dealers. Item F is to consider our 2018-2019 authorized list of investment training providers. Item G is to consider bid number 18-026 for library books, periodicals, supplies, and other equipment. That's item G. Item H is to consider bid number 18-027 for data cabling. Item I is to consider extracurricular status of the advanced academic department. And item J is to consider improvement, required campus targeted improvement plan that Dr. Ritter referred to earlier. And I think Bill's gonna, okay, all right, not yet. So all those items are, as I mentioned earlier, have been reviewed by our board team at an earlier pre-agenda board workshop, which actually occurred last Tuesday. So do we have any comments from our board team concerning any of those items? Any public comment? If not, all in favor of consent items A through J, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Our next item is to consider bills, accounts, and financial statements for August and September for 2018.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Mr. Parker to approve our bills, accounts, and financial statements for the months of both August and September of 2018. Do we have any comments from our board team?
Mr. Lehman, just as a point of reference, in our effort at financial transparency, all of these reports can be found online on our website. Go to saisd.org. Tab on the left is marked district. If you'll click on district, there's a section marked financial transparency under that heading. And again, all these reports, including our checkbook, can be found online at that website, saisd.org.
Thanks, Mr. Dindal. Any other board comments or questions concerning that? Any public comment? I would make a comment about, which doesn't specifically apply, but we've got a first financial rating report. So if anybody wants to pick one of those up on their way out and see that the state's approved our financial status and have done so for a number of years, but that's in that report. If we don't have any public comment, I'll call the motion. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. 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 Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. This is the item I just referred to, consider financial integrity rating of the San Angelo Independent School District. Dr. Bright, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lehman. Board, tonight we're here to just offer a report on our financial integrity rating. For the 16th year in a row, the district has received the highest rating possible that's awarded by the Texas Education Agency. This year we received an A. Really, the first is, its purpose is really to just measure the quality of the performance in management of your district's financial resources. It's just another feather in your cap for holding us accountable. I keep reminding you that past performance is no guarantee for future success, but we will, as a department and as an administrative team, we'll continue to strive for continuous improvement, and we will continue to work hard to bring good news on the financial side of the house for the district. So that's our report. Like you said, they are free tonight on the table. And help yourself. There's a lot of good reading in here. And thank you for your support. And we'll continue to work hard for you and our stakeholders.
Thanks, Dr. Bright.
Dr. Bright, before you leave, you said it's a feather in our cap, talking about the board. It's a feather in your cap in your department for the good job that you've done for many years at SAISD. But why don't you name the persons in your department that I know that assist you?
Oh, that's going to be trouble. Who do I leave out? But certainly our Director of Finance, Hope Flores, our new Comptroller, Jaime Guerrero, Christina Chavez plays a big role in all of this. Those are three that are at the top of the list, but it's our whole staff. We have a standard, and we have high expectations, and but those are the three that are the top level. But they'll be the first ones to say that it's not me either. It's not them. It's all of us together that work to make this happen.
It seems like this is your 15th year? Is that what you said?
16.
I mean, that's just how time flies, because I can remember it had to be more than 15 years ago where things weren't doing well for SAISD and financially, and we seemed to be in disarray. So I commend you and your department for the great job that you're doing for our district.
Like I said, it's not one person.
Jeff, I'll give you some advice that I give my children all the time. When someone compliments you, you just say thank you. Okay? So
on behalf of our entire staff, we thank you.
That's a better way to do it. On behalf of our department, thank you. So and certainly, as Mr. Parker mentioned, there's been times when we weren't near as successful financially. So as the head of that group, we appreciate your efforts, and we certainly appreciate the efforts of your entire team as we continue to strive to seek future similar recognition. So thank you.
Dr. Bright, just one more kudo. We know that you and your department understand all the intricacies of school finance, and as we as board members who are not nearly as adept in that realm, we thank you for trying to clear that muddy water up. Sometimes when we do have a question, we always can come to you, and that we can get a good straight answer, and we appreciate that.
Thanks, Mr. Dindal. Other comments or questions? If not, we need to approve, I guess, it's just a report, correct? Okay. It confuses because it says consider. Our next item is item 11, consider bus driver compensation increases, and Dr. Bright's going to tell us how we're going to spend more money.
We hope.
We hope, that's right.
Well, first let us thank you for allowing us to put this on the agenda at the last minute, because we've really reached a critical point within the staffing of the transportation department. And while that future of work video was great, we're not quite ready for driverless buses, although we could probably use a few robots if we had them. But until then, it takes humans to transport kids. And right now we're struggling to fill, as you read the agenda item, 22 vacancies within our transportation department. If you also read the agenda item, we have 99 additional special education riders this school year. And we are trying to add to make it work, add 4 additional routes. And thankfully, you have approved the purchase of 4 new buses. Unfortunately, you don't just go down to the local car dealer and find a yellow bus with wheelchair ramps on it. You have to order them, they have to be built, and we hope that by December we'll have these 4 new buses in. We can start relieving some of the pressure that we're currently facing within the special ed. Of course, that also means that we will be adding 4 more drivers and 4 more monitors on those buses. So, technically, Nick Martinez is here, our new transportation director. He really has 30 vacant positions within his department if you wanted to get that far down the road. Now, you may ask yourself, how do you function having that many vacancies? It is a struggle. If you go out to the transportation department on any given day, the building is vacant when it comes time for routes to be driven. There is not a single person left that is not out driving a route. Often Nick is the only one there. And that puts a lot of pressure on us because, one, without people in the office, you may make phone calls and they can't get answered because there's only one person there answering the phone calls. It's putting pressure on us as we have drivers who are stepping in and filling roles that they're not used to driving. It puts pressure on us by putting us maybe late for pickup times and drop-off times. And so, we're fighting through all that. Our staff are doing a great job stepping up, and they are busting their bottoms to get things done. I don't know how they do it every day. They care, and they want to serve children, but they need help. When you have vacancies like this, you can keep things running for a little while, but eventually the pace will wear you down. And that's kind of the point we're getting at right now. The pace is wearing them down. I don't know how much longer they can keep going. So let me stop right there before I get to the recommendation. And I want Nick Martinez, our new transportation director, to step up and just talk about some of the challenges that he has faced on a daily basis. And I think you'll be very impressed. Dr.
Dr.
Detloff?
Bright, may I make a transition comment just to connect to some of your words? As we know, San Angelo is impacted by the ebbs and the flows of the energy sector. And so this is translating to vacancies in our transportation department. As we know, again, our CDL drivers that can drive the 18-wheelers and the trucks and are certified drivers, they're transitioning to the energy sector where the pay is certainly high and the compensation is really, really good. As Jeff indicated, our bus drivers and many of our employees that have been with us for many years, they care about kids and they want to do the right thing and they want to add value to San Angelo ISD and our community, which is why they choose to stay. So I do just want to frame this, that the impact is from the energy sector, and then the trickle-down effect impacts us not only through drivers, mechanics, and then, at 3:05 on the school day, when you have our transportation director is the one that's fixing the buses and answering the phones at the same time because all our drivers are out taking care of kids. So they have done a magnificent job. And I know they'll talk more about some of the details, but I just applaud the work that you guys are doing, and it's very much appreciated.
Thank you, Dr. Detloff, Board President, Dr. Detloff, members of the board, executive staff committee of San Angelo ISD. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Dr. Bright, to come up here and talk about the proposal. I was once in the leadership seminar, and they asked, what's the major, what is more important, the people or the process? The people or the process? And sitting back and really thinking about that, it really let me in on my department right now in the fact of taking ownership of it and applying some visions and dropping some seeds. 3 of the visions we have out there is we put our motto out there: students first, family always. And our employees right now really drive that home. They wear it across their chest and they wear it with pride. As you can see, Roy Ramon was here tonight, and he really cares about our student development. And when we have sub-bus drivers on the routes, it just develops some inconsistencies that may pop up, missing student pickups, late arrivals, late start times, sometimes missing breakfast even, which is probably the most important meal of the day. So our second vision is giving parents peace of mind. We want to provide that to our parents as we look forward to the future. And then finally, our third vision is learning increases from transportation to lift. Learning increases from transportation. That's huge for us because we understand, we're trying to really grasp the concept of social and emotional learning on a bus as we move our kids into transit to and from school, and how important that is, the environment of just being on a school bus. And we want to provide that to the maximum if we can. So thank you again for allowing us to do this. One challenge, I was talking to Dr. Bright last weekend. We had both football teams out, 23 buses. We were having trouble getting enough route drivers to finish their routes, to finish at 4:30 when the band wanted to leave at about 4 o'clock. They didn't get to leave till about 5 p.m. And it's just a domino effect of maybe even affecting their performance. So just finding those drivers and allowing this piece of the overall investment of what we're going to do with our marketing plan as we move forward. This is just one vital piece of it. So thank you so much for doing it. And finally, why do we do it? And to produce future-ready graduates. Sitting in this room and evaluating and looking at it and noticing those Boy Scouts back there, you know, they're marking on the board agenda right now, and they're really getting after it and paying attention and listening to the votes aye. And it's just a sight to see. And when we sit back and realize that's our future, and we need to get them safe to and from. If we can do something a little bit more to possibly give them some safer drivers, more drivers, to help out the team that we have now, a solid team, we would appreciate that. So thank you for the time again tonight.
Thanks, Nick.
You know, Nick mentioned that they pulled off a miracle last Friday with not only both football teams out, but we also had volleyball teams out of town as well. And we had 23 buses on the road for last Friday night. And like I said, I don't know how they pulled it off. It was a miracle. So the agenda item is really part of a multi-step strategy into trying to attract and recruit new drivers in our system. Yes, we are asking that we approve a $1 per hour increase to the starting pay of the 4 categories of bus drivers that are in pay grade 504, if you were able to go on the website and look at that. In addition, I think that might be the key to this is the approval of a hiring and recruitment incentive. I think that using our own internal staff to go out and recruit people to be part of their team may have the biggest impact. That's what I'm thinking going into this, may have the biggest impact on attracting these new drivers. And we shared that incentive, not only the recruitment incentive, but also a hiring incentive of $500. There are certain criteria you have to meet before you receive the incentive, and that's spelled out on the agenda item as well, if you'd like to look at that. In addition to that, we are going to start a very aggressive marketing campaign. We're talking billboards, TV, radio. We're also looking at a job fair and any other creative ideas that Nick and Derek come up with. We're going to go out there and we're going to try to get these positions filled. But I think that for tonight, if you could generously make the adjustment to the starting pay, I think that's going to be a great first step into filling these 22 and possibly 30 vacancies that we currently have. So at this point, let me just stop there and let you, if you have any questions for me or if you have questions for Nick, we'd be glad to try to answer them.
Thanks, Dr. Bryant. Thanks, Nick, for your passion and being here this evening. Any questions from our board team? I guess the question I have is, and the struggles that I know a lot of businesses are going through, is the actual licensing process. You know, once you hire somebody, how long it's taking to get a CDL approval, you know. So how do y'all have any methods by which you're addressing that? I think some districts and some businesses are actually having their own, are allowed to, you know, do their own Cdl training. So anything along those lines, Nick?
Yes, sir. We are implementing a training program. We have 2 trainers on staff, and another employee has volunteered to help training, who's very, very attention detail mindset person. So it's very vital that we get the training right. It's a 5 test process. So we've had some individuals that have applied to date, and right now they're sitting in as monitors, and they're in the training program as far as going through the training and learning the ins and outs of what it takes to be a monitor, and then the pre-trip and post-trip is one of the biggest pieces of the test. And they're learning that process just hands-on as a shadow a monitor on the way. We have a 2-month training program. We're hoping, you know, that if we need to, we'll extend that out just for any drivers that come on board that just have 0 experience. But it's a 5 test process. We put some hands-on, some on-the-job training is where we really shine the most in our training program. We have training Tuesdays. Every Tuesday we have a sit-down with our drivers and our monitors, and we sit down and train. So training equals safety. So that's one of our biggest pushes out there.
Good.
I think that your point, though, is we're trying to grow our own.
Right.
And they come through the monitor ranks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. And your idea of offering an incentive for employees to get someone to come and, you know, their friend to come and offer them a good, you know, opportunity for them to drive for us is a good strategy as well. I think everybody in the room knows this, but there's no, in my opinion, if a child doesn't have a good experience on their way to school, it's hard for them to have a good first hour of class, and so our bus drivers and monitors are vital to the success of our students, just because their attitude could change just based on, how they're treated on the bus. So again, that's why I appreciate Nick so much and the passion he has for, understanding just how important that role is.
Sure. And Nick will tell you right off the bat that the bus driver is the first exposure they have to our district, and usually the last.
That's right.
And that's important.
Yeah. So any other questions about this from our board team? If not, the recommendation is that we approve a $1 increase to the starting pay of the 4 categories of bus drivers that are in pay grade 504, and the accompanying equity adjustments with existing drivers in the same pay grade. And we also recommend approval of the hiring and recruitment incentive proposal as presented in the documents attached, which those are basically a $500 incentive paid in 2 installments, so $250 once they sign up and $250 once they meet their training criteria. So are there questions or comments concerning that? And if not, I'll make a motion that we approve this recommendation.
Second.
So we have a motion from Mr. Lehman and a second from Mr. Parker. Are there other board questions or comments? Any public comment? Okay, if not, all in favor of our motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Thank you. This is the part that, thank y'all. We appreciate Nick and your team. Our next item is, and Mr. Dindal is going to recuse himself from this, is consider bid number 18-025 for maintenance, transportation, and miscellaneous supplies.
Just a second, Lanny, just a second. Scoutmaster, who's the Scoutmaster?
Yeah.
Before you leave,
Yeah.
we're
Thanks,
about
Max.
through. Would you just come, tell us, come up, you may have to come up here to the front.
Yeah.
But just like to know what your troop number is and whether they're working for some merit badge or something by being here.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to bring the boys up here too. Yeah.
Yeah, bring them up.
You guys are going to miss my presentation if you leave.
Come on up.
Yeah, why don't y'all stand across the front, guys?
Come up here.
Yeah, come on. That's great.
Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, members of the board. My name is James Cobb. I'm the Scoutmaster for Troop 1 here in San Angelo, and these are some of my boys of my troop. They're currently working on their communications merit badge along their way to earning their rank of Eagle Scout. This is one of the requirements that they have to pass in order to earn their rank of Eagle Scout. Part of this is they have to attend public meeting, listen to the points of view, listen to how business is conducted, and make a report on that to me in order to pass and earn the communication merit badge. Thank you all for having us this evening.
Sure, thanks for being here. Yeah. Thanks, guys. We hope we didn't embarrass you too much. You will be on Channel 4, so if you want to look at that, you can look and see what you look like on TV for the future, okay? Thanks for, yeah. Okay, now we'll move forward with, thanks, Max. I was going to do that, but I wasn't paying attention as they were leaving, so thanks for reminding us of that. So the next item is for bid number 18025. So, Jason, thank you.
Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, members of the board, thank you for having me here today to present bid number 18-25, Maintenance, Transportation, and Miscellaneous Supplies. This bid will establish a list of vendors used mainly by our Transportation and Maintenance Department. Child nutrition, campuses, and other departments use this bid as well. This year we had 120 vendors respond to this bid. That's down 1 from last year. These vendors are used to secure supplies, equipment, and services. Any supplier service that costs over $3,500 or more each are required to be accompanied by an attempt to secure 3 quotes. The administration recommends approval of the vendors listed on the attached bid tab.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Any questions or comments concerning Mr. Parker?
We don't have a quorum. Oh, wait,
Yeah, we
Dr.
do.
Taylor,
Yeah.
Dr. Kingman saved the day.
That's right. He heard my presentation was going to be good.
That's right.
Oh, good,
Thank
because
you.
we didn't have a quorum a few minutes ago when Art left, so now we have 4. Well, with that, now that we have a quorum, I will recommend that we approve the vendors that have been recommended by administration, and I'm not going to go through them, 120 different vendors.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mr. Parker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Hernandez. So we have a motion and a second to consider bid number 18-025. This is for maintenance, transportation, and other miscellaneous supplies. And as Jason laid out, we have a pretty robust group of vendors that are willing to help us with those. And anytime we buy something in excess of $3,500, then the recommendation from our board team is to get at least 3 solid bids on that equipment or supplies. So any further comment or questions? Any public comment? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Thanks, Jason, for that, and thanks, Dr. Kingman, for being here. We appreciate that. That's all right. I told the crowd earlier when we had a big crowd that I told you just to let somebody else close your surgery and come on to the board meeting. So, and then the CEO for Shannon decided that wasn't a great idea. So we, as far as announcements, our pre-agenda board workshop is scheduled. Sorry, Bill. Our pre-agenda board workshop scheduled to be November 12th, and our regular board meeting is November 19th. And I don't think we have any other reason to extend our meeting any further, so hearing no objection, we'll stand adjourned.